Hola, it's Beto here, your daily divinity coach, here for episode number 26 of my weekly series, Sunday Weekly Revival. If you're watching the recording, go ahead and fast forward a couple minutes. I'm going to tag some people, allow some people to join. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now, tag some friends, see who's out there and who we can get to join so we can get an audience going. So just give me a minute here. While I'm doing this, I want to make sure I give my ritual shout out to Emma Lou, who watches every week, along with some others that watch regularly, who I'm very grateful for. So again, just tagging some friends so that we can get an audience going here, and we'll get started. Again, if you're watching the recording, go ahead and fast forward, and because I'm going to give a brief introduction after we get done tagging some friends here. So almost done. Just gonna tag a few more people, and we'll get going in a minute. Perfect. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish that. Soon here we'll have an audience. I'm really excited about this episode. Bringing the holiday cheer for episode number 26. Entitled Mariah, Carey, José, Feliciano, and celebrating the great teachers model Immortality. It's Sunday, December 20th. Again, I'm Beto. I'm your daily divinity coach, and just really excited about this episode. It's going to be awesome. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually put my glasses back on because I want to do a sound check. So it looks like Emma Lou, shout out. If you can just give me a thumbs up, let me know the sound is working. I'd like to do a sound check at the beginning because one of my episodes, I didn't do that, and there's some technical issues. But yeah, looks like the thumbs up is coming, so perfect. So we got sound. So again, episode number 26, bringing the holiday cheer. Mariah, Carey, and José Feliciano celebrating the great teachers model of Immortality. Sunday, December 20th. I'm Beto here, your daily divinity coach for my weekly revival series. Sunday, December 20th. And this is my website here, dailydivinitycoach.com. So again, if you're watching the recording, you can go ahead and fast forward a couple minutes if you've already heard my introduction, but I'm going to go ahead and do that now while we let a few more people join so we can get a nice audience going. Who am I? Or what am I? What are my credentials, whatnot? I am a Master of Divinity. I am a graduate of Harvard University Divinity School. I'm originally from San Francisco. I'm out here in Boston now, and I'm also a pluralist. So I use inclusive language like the great teacher, the divine, right? I have people who watch my shows and read my posts from all faiths and no faith. And they all get something from it. I teach all. What do I do on social media? Every day I do daily posts, so daily written posts, and I put those on Twitter, here on Facebook, as well as Instagram. So on those three platforms. And then on Sundays I'm live. I do my Sunday Weekly Revival series, actually starting on Instagram at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every Sunday, and 11 a.m. 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then 30 minutes later, I'm here with you all on Facebook Live starting at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm here every Sunday for Sunday Weekly Revival, with the exception of the first Sunday of the month, because the first Sunday of the month I'm still here, but we're doing my monthly mailbag, which is my episode. I take your questions, your pre-submitted questions, and I provide thoughtful answers. So if you have any questions for me about any of my posts, any of my shows, please submit those. You can send them either IM, DM. If you have my phone number, you can text me, and you can also visit my website, dailydivinitycoach.com, and you can submit those you can send those questions in. Pre-submit them for my monthly mailbag, and I'll give a thoughtful response. A lot have done that, and I'm very grateful for that. What else do I do? What do I do for free? What do I provide? I do free one-on-one coaching for up to 45 minutes. So if you have any questions about any of the content of the shows, any of my posts, reach out, IM, DM, text, You can submit a form on my website, dailydivinitycoach.com, and we'll spend 45 minutes together and we'll talk. Also, if you're in need of prayer, free scientific prayer, I got my secret weapon, my mom, get her on the phone. We'll say a prayer. Plenty have done it. Some have reported back miracles. It makes us very happy to do it. It brings my mom actually a lot of joy. She's retired, so it's something that she looks forward to. So if you have, your need of prayer, please reach out. I am DM, text, send something through the website, an order form, and happy to do that. I also give away these free bracelets. I produce sets of manifest bracelets. A black one that reads Manifest Immortality, a blue one that reads Manifest Abundance, and a gray one that reads Manifest Justice. They're free. And if you live within the U.S., or actually anywhere in North America or Europe till the end of the year, till the end of 2020, shipping is free too. In the U.S., it's always free. So if you haven't received your free set of Manifest bracelets, please reach out. I am DM, text, or submit an order form on dailydivinitycoach.com, my website. And I'm happy to get these out to you. I've already sent out, I don't know, like 300 now, and I still got a couple hundred more from my second batch that's come in that we produce. So please reach out. I've been asked, Beth, I don't know if I would wear those bracelets, but they're very cool. I have a friend or a family member that I'm sure would love them. By all means, reach out. If you want me, if they don't live near you and you want me to, or you're not visiting them right now because of COVID, and you want me to send them directly to that family member, that friend, I've done that. I've had people from Massachusetts ask me to send bracelets to Ohio. I've had people from the East Coast ask me to send bracelets to the West Coast, and I've done that. I just need a name and an address. Happy to do that. So that's my introduction. We're going to go ahead and get started with the episode. We're going to start by talking about Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey was born March 27th. And she was born in either 1969 or 1970. We're not sure. We are sure that she's part of Generation X because it's either 69 or 70. We're not sure which year. And why is that? It's because of this. This is what Mariah Carey says about birthdays, or about her birthday. She says, I don't count years. Sound familiar? If you've watched any of my past episodes, or not any, but a few of them where I mentioned this, or read my post where I mentioned this, Prince, the musical artist Prince, says the same thing. I don't count years, right? Mariah Carey, I don't count years. And then she goes on, and this is the part that, I love that part, but this is the part that's like super gold, right? That's gold. This is like platinum. She says, but I definitely rebuke them. Now, I love that because it reminds me of my childhood growing up. As many of you know, I was tutored in the law of attraction by my mom. Starting at age 10, as a kid, I was tutored. And my mom would say, like if I had a negative thought and I expressed it in words and she heard it, she'd say this. She'd say, rebuke it. Rebuke those negative words, right? Rebuke that, And so figuratively, right? Not literally, but figuratively beating that in my head, right? Like rebuke those negative thoughts, those negative words. Mariah Carey does that with aging. She rebukes, right? She rebukes aging, which is what I teach, right? A friend of mine, she made the mistake the other day. We're talking on the phone and she slipped. She said, life is short. And I reminded her of who she was talking to. I said, no, life is long. Say it. I made her say it. She said, life is long. And she's like, oh my God, I forgot who I was talking to, right? I'm talking to the Daily Divinity Coach. I said, yeah, you're talking to the Daily Divinity Coach. Life is long. You got to rebuke that. Life is short. That's nonsense. That's a lie. So anyhow, that's what Mariah Carey does. Going further with who Mariah Carey is. She's a singer, a songwriter, a record producer, and an actress. She's known by a couple of nicknames. One is Songbird Supreme, and the other is Queen of Christmas, and we'll get into more as to why that is. For her debut album, her debut studio album, this is incredible. Columbia Records, she's an unknown artist. Columbia Records signs her and spends $1 million to promote her debut studio album. Unheard of at the time. But they felt like they had the next Whitney Houston or the next Madonna on their hands. And it proved successful. This bet proved successful. Her debut album topped the Billboard 200 for 11 consecutive weeks. She won Grammy Awards, including Best New Artist and Best Female Pop Vocal Performance due to that first studio album. It was the best-selling album in the U.S. in 1991. Worldwide sales, 15 million copies. 4 of the 5 singles, 80%, became #1 hits on the U.S. Billboard's Top 100, or Hot 100. Amazing success, right out the gate. Whoo, she's stardom, right? Instant stardom. Moving on with her career, her third album, right? She came up with the second one. The third album was Music Box, came out in 1993, and it contained the hit singles Hero. Remember that song Hero? And that's recognized as her signature song, right? The song Hero. And it turned out to be one of the best-selling albums of all time. Her #3. But what I really want to do is focus on her #4 album, or actually one song within the #4 album. But her 4th album was entitled Merry Christmas, right? And this is why we're talking about it now, because it's the holiday season. It was released November 1st, 1994, and it became the best-selling Christmas album of all time, selling over 15 million copies worldwide. The lead single of that album is entitled All I Want for Christmas Is You. And that song became actually the 11th, number 11 best-selling single, regardless of genre, best-selling single of all time. Do you know what the #1 best-selling single of all time? It was released in 1942, Bing Crosby's White Christmas. So Bing Crosby's White Christmas, #1 all time, and we're talking Elvis, we're talking, everything, right? Number 11 all time, Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas, and I'm sure it's playing somewhere on the radio right now. It's playing all the time during this holiday season, right? So what I want to do is recite some of the lyrics, and we're going to talk about these lyrics. And this is part of why I love, I love my pop icons, but I really love my singer-songwriters because I can talk about their lyrics because they're words, right? But don't get me wrong, soon I'll be introducing other artists like comedians, visual artists, painters, right? I'll be bringing up some other pop icons soon that aren't singer-songwriters. But anyhow, getting on to Mariah's lyrics, All I Want for Christmas Is You. I don't want a lot for Christmas, she sings. There is just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. And I just realized I could actually put them up here so people can see the lyrics too. So you can read along with me. We're down here. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas is you. I don't need to hang my stocking there upon the fireplace. Santa Claus won't make me happy with the toy on Christmas Day. I just want you. And it goes on, right? The song goes on from there. I'm sure you've heard it like me hundreds and hundreds of times. So what is the song about? Obviously, it's about romantic love, right? But it's more than that. It is more than just a song about romantic love. Yes, it's about the holiday season, yes. But what it really is, for me, is an anthem against hypermaterialism. Remember the prophecy of the Maya, right? The prophecy of the Hopi, right? Especially the Hopi when they're talking about the fifth world, the fifth sun, right? There's going to be spiritual conflict, right? There's going to be an end to this era, right? That we're currently in, which is ending that era of hypermaterialism. So this song for me is more than just about romantic love. It's an anthem against hypermaterialism. Why? Well, if we were to recite the lyrics again, but just meditate on the lyrics. She sings that material things don't bring happiness, right? It's about relationships, right? It's about relationships. In this case, romantic love, but it's about relationships, about the love we have for family, for friends, right? Romantic partners, and I hope the divine too, right? So for me, this song is really fifth world, fifth sun stuff, and the lyrics they're awesome. Right, they're awesome. So we're going to move on. We're going to shift gears here, and talk about José Feliciano. And I'll bring up the link in a second between Mariah Carey and José Feliciano. José Feliciano was born September 10th, 1945. Let me go ahead and flip this for you. September 10th, 1945. Puerto Rican, right? He was born on the island, on La Isla de Puerto Rico. Musician, singer, composer, right? Another singer-songwriter. He's best known for his international hits. He did a rendition of The Doors, Light My Fire in 1968, which is a huge hit. And then he also did, 2 years later, in 1970, he did Feliz Navidad. And here's the connection, right? Between Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You, José Feliciano, another hit Christmas single, Feliz Navidad, right? Feliz Navidad, Prospero Año y Felicidad. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Right? He used both English and Spanish. Mariah Carey sang in just English. Anyhow, moving back to 68. So in 1968, his album Feliciano, entitled Feliciano, reached number 2. It reached number 2 on the music charts. And as a result, in 1969, he won Grammy Awards for, guess what? Best New Artist, just like Mariah Carey did, right, back in the day. He won a Grammy for Best New Artist. He also won a Grammy for Best Pop Male Song of the Year for his rendition of The Doors' Light My Fire. So again, Grammy Award winner, got 2 Grammys right off the bat. Mariah Carey also a Grammy Award winner. They both did Christmas songs that were blockbusters. What else about José Feliciano? He was born blind. He couldn't see. What else? His family moved from Puerto Rico, from the island, to another island, Manhattan. They moved to Spanish Harlem in New York City when he was 5 years old. So he grew up there in New York City, Spanish Harlem. Prolific. He's released more than 50 albums worldwide in both English and Spanish. And this is something that I like to talk about. He also wrote the theme song and performed the theme song for the sitcom in 1974, Chico and the Man. I don't know if many of you remember. I was actually just a little child, but Chico and the Man was a sitcom. It starred the comedian Freddie Prinze, who fathered Freddie Prinze Jr. Some of you might know who Freddie Prinze Jr. is, but Freddie Prinze was this amazing Puerto Rican comedian out of New York City, and to this day, he was only with us for a short while, walked the earth a short while, but to this day, my favorite all-time comedian. So I had to put that in there, and I'm sure we'll talk about Freddie Prinze again, or bring him up anyhow, reference him in future episodes. But José Feliciano, something happened in '68 that I want to talk about with Feliciano, and it was this. On October 7th of 1968, José Feliciano was invited and asked to perform the national anthem. It was right before Game 5 of the Baseball World Series. So the nation's tuned in, right? José Feliciano's, right, the Grammy, he's the hot new thing at 68 World Series. It's in Detroit, Game 5. He's there, right, before the nation to sing the national anthem. So let's give some context. At 68, the nation divided, right? The U.S. is divided over the Vietnam War, right? A lot of tension. There's also social unrest, right? In Detroit, just the year before, there's social unrest. Dozens of people ended up dying due to the violence of the social unrest. So there's a lot going on, a lot of tension, right, in the nation and in Detroit, right, at that time. José Feliciano was asked to sing for Game 5. Game 4, guess who sang? Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye was asked to sing. And they asked Marvin Gaye, they said, would you sing it straight, right? Not so much soul, Marvin, just, if you do us a favor and just sing it straight. And Marvin complied. He did. He for the most part sang the national anthem straight. But José Feliciano didn't get the memo. He literally says he did not get the memo. He did not know he was supposed to sing it straight. And he'd been working on this rendition, right, of the national anthem, and that's what he performed. He came out before the crowd there in Detroit, before the crowd watching on, or the nation watching on TV with his acoustic guitar, and he performed a personalized rendition that had a slow folk tempo, right? A Latin jazz feel, and it was interpreted as anti-establishment. José Feliciano was on the right side of history, right? He was for the most part an anti-establishment figure, but he I'm sure he would have complied if he had gotten a memo, but he didn't. So he just did his thing, right? He just went out there and did this folk, Latin jazzy rendition of the national anthem. So what happened? So it was met with boos. There's a few people that clapped, but for the most part, there are people in the stands, fans in the stands, that booed him. They booed this rendition because they interpreted it as being anti-establishment or, even anti-America, which is weird. But they weren't digging it, right? And it was highly controversial. Critics, the press, right? He got panned for it, right? But amazingly enough, today that recording, right? Decades and decades later, that recording is on exhibit permanently in Cooperstown at the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's actually celebrated now. That rendition's celebrated. So, he was ahead of his time. I'll say Feliciano. He was fifth world, fifth son, right? Like, this national anthem, we got to jazz it up, right? We got to bring some soul to it. He did his thing. There's consequences, right? He's slammed by this person and that person. But at the end of the day, it's celebrated today. Why? Because it's forward thinking, right? It's fifth world, fifth son stuff. So anyhow, moving on. Heaven and miracles. So my father, if you watch my episodes, I bring up my mom quite a bit. But my dad, I was talking to him on the phone the other day, and he says, son, why do you always talk about your mom? You never talk about me on your shows. And I said, all right. Let me think on that, right? Let me think about it, how I can bring you up. And so I'm going to talk about him. I'm not sure this is the way he wanted me to talk about him, but we're going to go for it. So I had a recent conversation with my father, and he just recently finished writing a book. And this book of his has two topics. It's about heaven, and it's about miracles. And he asked my advice. I don't know if he really wanted my advice, but he asked my advice. Might have been a mistake on his part, but anyhow. So he asked my advice, and this is what I'm an honest person, right? And I just said, hey, love the miracle stuff, right? Love it. That's fifth son stuff, right? That's what the great teacher did, right? All about, miracles. But that other stuff, the heaven stuff, get it out. Keep the miracles, delete the heaven stuff. Why? Why would I delete that? I said, because your approach to heaven is very fourth son. Fourth is not fifth son. It's fourth son, fourth world. It's pie in the sky. It's about, getting yours later in the afterlife. It's about experience physical death and aging so that your soul can rise to heaven and you can get yours later on. I said, that's not fifth world, fifth son. That's not where we're going. That's where we've been. And it's oppressive. That pie in that sky stuff's oppressive. You got to get that stuff out. Focus on what you know. Stay in your lane. Go for the miracles. You're a faith healer. That's you. That's what you're good at. And so anyway, that's what I told the guy, my dad, and he said he'd think about it. He said he'd think on it. So there's no resolution there, but at least he made it on the show. But anyway. I want to talk about the immortality model. So with the great teacher, and this is what I told him too. I said, Gran Maestro, the great teacher. I said, he did not, right? He did not suffer on earth, right? All depressed, miserable, suffering on earth, so that he could die physically and his soul could rise to heaven and he'd get some pie in the sky. No, that's not the model. It was not. It's not the fifth world. It was never the model. It's not the future model, nor was it ever the past model, but somehow, I don't know how, we got this crazy interpretation that this, the great teacher, Gran Maestro, did his thing so that we could suffer and age and die, and then our souls go to heaven. Crazy. That's not the model. The model is this. the great teacher, El Gran Maestro, boldly prophesied, you want to kill me? You want to kill me? I will rise from the dead in 3 days. And what did he do? They killed him. He rose from the dead in 3 days. Immortality model. That's the immortality. That's fifth son, fifth world, right? And then what did he do? He didn't rise and resurrect from the dead so that he could age and right, age and die, and then his soul could go to heaven and he could get some pie in the sky. No. He, like others before him, Elijah and others, he ascended alive in his physical body to heaven. He didn't die. He died, rose again, but then he ascended, right? Immortality, that's the model, right? We're not talking no pie in the sky. That's the model. That's the immortality. That's the model to celebrate. That is the model to celebrate, and that's what we should be doing. And in the fifth son, fifth world, we will be doing this. It's coming. If it's not already here, it may already be here, but it's coming. It's coming soon, right? That immortality model. That's the holidays. That's what we really should be celebrating. This immortality model. The fifth world, fifth son, right? This is coming if it's not already here, right? Mariah Carey, right? That anti-hyper-materialism that she sings about, right? And all I want for Christmas is you, right? José Feliciano, that anti-establishment spirit, right? When he belted out the national anthem with his acoustic guitar back in '68 at Game 5 of the World Series in Detroit. That's it. That's not fifth world, fifth son stuff. So I want to end here. So I was reading, as I tend to do quite a bit, I was reading on the internet and just looking up some stuff about the ministry of the great teacher, right? El Gran Maestro. And oh my God, I read this interpretation about the finances of the great teacher's ministry. And this person was thinking, right? They're thinking on how the great teacher is able to finance his ministry. And they said, well, I'm sure he got lots of gifts and offerings, and there's probably points in the ministry where he had to beg, right? He actually had to beg. And I'm like, OMG, talk about a fourth world, fourth son interpretation of the finances of the great teacher. I mean, it was just like, first I wanted to laugh and then I wanted to cry. It was so bad. But it did, it did make me think, and it did, make me think to the point where I came up with some pretty interesting stuff to share on this episode. And it's this: if it's me, right? If it's me and my homies, and we're, those disciples, and we're traveling around with the great teacher, right? El Gran Maestro, right? And we're in need of finances or sustenance. We're regular folk, right? Just like the disciples of the great teacher, regular folk. What are we going to do? We need to eat. We're going to go fish. We need something. We're going to build it, right? We need finance. We're going to sell something. We're going to do something, right? We're not going to sit around and wait for offerings and gifts or beg. Are you kidding me? That's not to say there weren't gifts and offerings. I'm sure there were people that were grateful, right? They got a miracle, right? Their legs broke, now it's healed, or whatever the miracle was, right? Visually impaired, now their vision's back, 2020. I'm sure that gratitude, right? Gifts, right? I'm sure the gifts were coming in, no doubt, right? I would be one, teeth are crooked, now my teeth are straight. Boom, I'm given a cake or something, right? Something cool. Whatever I could think of or come up with. So no doubt there are some gifts and offerings, but come on, man. These, they got skills. They're creating their own finances. And say the fish aren't biting that day, right? You don't think, it's the great teacher, it's El Gran Maestro. You don't think the homies are great teacher are of course they're manifesting something, right? If they're manifesting things for the crowds, right? They're manifesting things for themselves. So that whole begging, that just threw me off. But anyway, and the other thing is I'm thinking about, like, if it's me and, my homies, right? If it's me and Carlos and Carlo and Victor and Henry and Caesar and Pablo and Rich and Kenny and, all the guys I grew up with, if it's us and the great teacher, I could see some lively interaction. I mean, we're having fun. Guys, this guy, his ministry was not depressing and sad. It wasn't like, oh my God, he's going to go to the cross and, nah, they're cutting up. Because if it was us, that's what we'd be doing. We'd be cutting up and laughing and having fun and stuff, strategizing, right? Gran Maestro, what's going to be the next miracle? Like, we're going to this town over here, ends in an EA. What's going to be the next miracle? Got a U in it. And he would say something along the lines of, well, what do you all think, right? You've been with me. We've been going town to town, even building things and fishing and doing this and that, manifesting. What do y'all think I should do next? And I could see myself. This is Bethel. Bethel would say something along the lines of, how about levitating, right? Haven't done that yet. How about levitating? And then El Gran Maestro, the great teacher, would say something along the lines of, you mean fly? Like, you want me to fly over the crowd, like Flying Nun? Remember that TV series, Flying Nun? You want me to fly over the crowd? And I'd be like, well, that would be cool too. But I was just thinking, levitate, just levitate a foot or two, right? Let them know you can levitate. And then I can see the great teacher had a sense of humor. Great teacher had a sense of humor. El Gran Maestro had a sense of humor. He was smiling. He was laughing, right? If he got sad, it was only because of the oppression that he was seeing, right? That's what would make him sad, and then he'd go manifest a miracle. So anyway, we've had this conversation about levitating and flying and stuff, and then the great teacher would end it, right? He'd end it in a funny way, in a great teacher way. He'd say, Beto, why don't I just walk on water? And I'd say, well, that would work too. So anyhow, I'm going to end here. I am so grateful for you. I'm filled with gratitude and joy, not only because it's the holiday season, but I get to be here with you for my Sunday Weekly Revival series. So thank you so much for joining live, and for those of you watching the recorded video. I hope you'll join again next Sunday. We'll be back here. I'm here every Sunday on Facebook Live, starting at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I am in Boston, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time out in the West Coast, and 30 minutes before, if you're up early next week, I'm on Instagram Live, starting at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But again, I'm very grateful for you. May you have a blessed rest of your day or evening, wherever you might be. And I'm going to go ahead and put on my reading glasses now, and soon I won't need these anymore because I'm reversing aging. And wish you the best today, and wish you a very fruitful holiday season. Bye-bye now.